Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Supervisor Conover.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Amanda, I can't hear.
It looks like she's muted. The boardroom is muted.
You fixing that, Amanda? Because I can't hear. I don't have audio.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
I can hear you.
Is that better? Okay, we're reading the roll. Mr. Conover?
Here.
Mr. Leggett?
Here.
Mr. Diamond?
Here.
Mr. McDevitt?
Here.
Ms. Bramer? Here. Mr. Bruno?
Here.
Mr. Driscoll?
Here.
Mrs. Frazier? Here. Mrs. Smith?
Here.
Ms. Hogan? Here. Mr. Dickinson?
Here.
Mr. Merlino?
Here.
Mr. Stroud?
Here.
Amanda, I can't hear.
Mr. McGowan?
Here.
Ms. Sieber? Here. Mr. Beatty? Mr. Beatty is here on Zoom. Mr. Thomas?
Anybody else?
Here.
Ms. Shepler? Here. Mr. Garrity?
Here.
Don, I can't hear.
Established.
Yeah, is your computer volume down maybe?
No? Let me check. Let me double check. Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you fine, but
Okay. All right. Let's try that. Is that?
okay.
We can hear you.
Okay. Now I gotta get back to picture. Thank you.
Okay, the first order of business will be the selection of a board chair for 2021. Any board member may be nominated for the chair. A second to a nomination is not required. Any person nominated may choose to decline the nomination. The floor is now open to nominations for chair.
Yes.
Mr. Garrity.
Yes, I nominate Frank Thomas for chairman of the board.
Okay, I have one nomination for Supervisor Thomas.
I decline that nomination.
Mr. Thomas has declined. Are there other nominations? Mr. Diamond?
I'd like to nominate Claudia Bramer for chairman of the board.
One nomination for Supervisor Bramer.
Decline the nomination.
Supervisor Bramer has declined. Are there any other nominations for chair? Mr. McGowan?
I'd like to nominate Supervisor Sieber.
One nomination for Supervisor Sieber. Mr. Thomas?
I would like to second that.
That nomination is seconded by Mr. Thomas. Ms. Bramer?
Thank you so much. By Supervisor Thomas and I declining those nominations, I hope that the board can see that we are supporting Supervisor Sieber for this position. It is very important to me that we pass the torch carefully and with intention to a woman on this board and to a down county supervisor, and that she will lead us forward with a bipartisan leadership team in a bipartisan manner in both the up county and the down county interests, and that you will be open and transparent to all of the supervisors, and that you will lead us all so that we will work in the best interest of this entire county. Thank you.
Mr. Leggett?
I nominate Craig Leggett for chairman of the board of supervisors.
I have one nomination for Supervisor Leggett. Are there any other nominations?
Do we get to speak to this?
Sure.
And I supported Frank Thomas. Frank has always been a reasonable, level-headed man. He is very quiet, and people have used that as a bit of a minus on his character. And people have said that he has not supplied strong leadership. We are all elected individuals, and if we see any lack that needs to be done, we step up and we take over and we fill that gap. We should not go ahead and think that directions need to come from somebody else. I am not a Democrat. I am not a Republican. I am a working supervisor that sits here for the good of my constituents within the town of Chester and then within Warren County. Up county, down county, Republican, Democrat, All these things get thrown around. We are one body. We are one body that comes together to do the work. I have the experience as a town supervisor. I have chaired important committees with $5 million worth of budgets. And I have the abilities to chair this. I think it is, and I would appreciate your support. Thank you very much.
Ms. Seaver?
Thank you, Ms. Allen. I first want to say that I certainly appreciate the support shown in this room today, not only by you all as supervisors, but by the communities that elect us. And I think that that is the tie that binds all of us. We are here because we all have something to offer to our communities. We all have something to offer to each other, and collectively, together, we are better. We can do better, and we can be stronger. And I am so appreciative to not only our Republican Party, but our Republican chairman, as much as I am appreciative to our Democrat Party, to our Democrats on this board, and recognizing that we do not all get defined by a D or an R, that in fact, we are all people that took an oath to serve our communities. I stand before you as someone who has been a local, state, and federal advocate my entire life, but I've been a member of this county board. I've been a county employee. I have been someone that calls all of you and speaks the truth. I reach out and I communicate. And I submit to you that we have a different way to lead this board. We have a way that we can unite in a bipartisan fashion. And those are not just words, because our electorate did not put us here to make easy decisions. They didn't put us here to abstain from votes or fight with each other. They put us here to make the hard decisions, to represent diversity, to represent what we tell every single voter we will do, which is to put them first. And in the national landscape, I think our community, our country, we're just tired of this. I ask you for the opportunity to be your chair, to work with each and every one of you very closely, and to where none of us are cut out, that we communicate and we support each other professionally and respectfully. And the nominations here today and that support behind that speaks to our ability to work together and to lead this board. And I would humbly ask for your support this morning. Thank you.
I'll call one more time for nominations before we close them. Are there any other nominations for chair? Seeing none, we'll call the nominations closed and we'll proceed to vote. When your name is called, please advise whether you are voting for Supervisor Seaver or Supervisor Leggett for chair. Mr. Conover?
Seaver.
Mr. Leggett?
Leggett.
Mr. Diamond?
Seaver.
Mr. McDevitt?
Leggett.
Ms. Bramer?
Seaver.
Mr. Bruno?
Seaver.
Mr. Driscoll?
Seaver.
Mrs. Frazier?
Leggett.
Mrs. Smith?
Leggett.
Ms. Hogan?
Seaver.
Mr. Dickinson?
Seaver.
Mr. Merlino?
Seaver.
Mr. Stroud?
Leggett.
Mr. Weil?
Seaver.
Mr. McGowan?
Seaver.
Ms. Seaver?
Seaver.
Mr. Beatty?
Miss Seaver.
Mr. Thomas?
Seaver.
Ms. Shepler?
Leggett.
Mr. Garrity?
Seaver.
Okay, I have a vote. We have a vote of 756 in favor of Supervisor Seaver and 244 in favor of Supervisor Leggett. Supervisor Seaver has won the chair. Mr. McGowan, would you please escort Ms. Seaver to the front so she can be sworn in?
Outstanding.
If you would raise your right hand, if you can have my choose, and repeat after me. I
Rachel Sievers,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge
that I will faithfully discharge
the duties required
the duties required
as chairman
as chair
of the Warren County Board of Supervisors,
as chair of the Warren County Board of Supervisors,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Rachel?
Amazing. She's what? Everybody has a right to one down. She might be good. You gotta give her,
I wanted to say thank you for this opportunity. What I would ask today is that we come together collectively as a board for our communities. But that I am respectfully requesting that we please table the rules of the board when we meet next week. What I would like the opportunity to do is to meet with every single one of you, to reform our leadership structure, our committees, and how we work together to work better together. If we could please have that opportunity to have just a week so that we can talk and determine where everyone's interest would lie, how we can come together as a community and a county, I would very much appreciate that. I know usually today, after this step, we talk about those rules of the board. But I think we've acknowledged today that we need those changes. And I'm hopeful this is something that we can do as a group, the 20 of us. Would someone like to make that motion to adjourn or to table those? Supervisor McGowan?
Yes, I'll make a motion to table.
Seconded by. Thank you. Is that a second, Supervisor Hogan?
It is.
Thank you. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. That carries. I look forward to a new beginning and a new start as we start 2021 as a new board with a strong foundation and a path forward for all of us to represent our communities and the citizens of Warren County. Is there anything else to come before the board today?
We do have two other resolutions. Just designating the official papers and the depositories for the county, and those can be done in a collective vote. There's no roll call.
Is that something that? Ms. Allen, would you just repeat the resolutions that are in front of us this morning?
Yes, you have resolution number 2, which is designating the official papers, and 3, designating depositories. Neither of those are subject to a roll call vote unless one is requested, and they can be approved in a collective vote.
I'll make a motion, we introduce resolution 2 and 3. As stated.
Second.
A second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. Thank you. At this point, we have privilege of the floor. I'll first extend that to, do we have privilege of the floor, Mr. Lehman? From the public.
Comment, but Janelle Jones did want to give kind of an update on everything, so whenever you're ready for that, just let me know. I'll text her. And there's no public comment right.
So why don't we notify Janelle? We'd love to hear from her today, but at this point, could we have privilege of the floor of the board this morning? Supervisor Leggett.
Thank you, Chairman Seaver. And thank you all that voted in my favor for the impromptu jump in on that. And I wish you the best as chairman, and I think we will all work well together for this year. We're all of one heart and one mind to do so.
Thank you, Supervisor Leggett. Supervisor Bramer.
Thank you, Chairwoman Seaver. I just want to take this opportunity to thank everyone who I was able to talk to over these last several weeks about running for chair. I really enjoyed our conversations, and I hope that we can continue those as we work on various issues throughout the county. So I do want to say thank you to the Democrats who I talked to, the Republicans who I talked to, and also our independent down there, Supervisor Leggett. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Bramer. Supervisor Driscoll.
Thank you, Chairwoman. I wanted to, again, congratulate Dan Steck and Matt Simpson. Assemblyman Simpson is going to be working with one of my constituents from the 5th Ward of Glens Falls, a colleague and also a friend, Matt McDonald, and I think that together that office will do good work on behalf of us. I also wanted to remind people that certainly we all know that COVID was a major part of all of our lives, and as I look back at some of the evaluations, staff evaluations that I've read from the Department of Social Services, I was reminded that the matrix that we use to evaluate individuals this past year are certainly changed, and I think that also applies to our 2020 chairman. I thank Supervisor Thomas for his work this past year, and again, I think that good things will happen in 2021. Congratulations.
Thank you, Supervisor Driscoll. Supervisor Garrity.
Yeah, I also would like to thank all the employees of Warren County for getting through this trying year. I also want to thank Chairman Thomas for the trying year. It's not been easy. Anybody who has a community that they've been dealing with this, it's taken a lot of time and effort from all of us. I think Frank has done the best job he could based on the circumstances. His years of service shouldn't go unnoticed. Obviously, we had a change today. I wish Rachel the best, but I would remind everybody in this room, we have great employees of Warren County. And we need to remember to recognize our great employees of Warren County, whether it be the person who works on the building or our public health services. And you need to change at the leadership. Sometimes there's trepidation that goes on among the employees. We need to assure our employees that we have the highest regard for them and will continue to see that they flourish in their jobs here at the county. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Garrity, and I cannot agree with you more on both fronts. One, our employees make up an incredible team that we are all fortunate to work with every single day, and we'll continue to provide not only that level of continuity, but to provide strength and a foundation that they can depend on and count on. And certainly, not least but last, but Supervisor Thomas, what you've been able to contribute to the board as budget officer, as a supervisor, and as the prior chairman, we are all stronger and better because of that. And it does not go unnoticed, and it is appreciated. Thank you. Other comments this morning, Supervisor McGowan.
Thank you, newly elected chairwoman. I would just really like to put out there is it's been a long year for all of us, and this COVID has put a lot of taxing times in all our towns and our people. And I just what has transpired up today and the meetings that we've had and the decisions that we have made. I just want to thank everybody, because I've always thought is we do work well. Craig, you're absolutely right. We do work well as a team, and we'll have our differences. We'll have our little phone calls. We'll have our little tips. But at the end of the day, the next week when we come back together, it's all said and done with, and we're back together as a team. And I'm just looking forward to keeping this all united and moving forward. Kevin, I really do believe. Our employees, we do have a lot of hardworking employees here, and it's kind of funny when I walk around the buildings and I thank people for coming into work. They look at me like I'm a little strange, and I do. I tell them, I thank you for coming in, and really thank you for all you do. And it really is, it's amazing how they respond back and sometimes just look at it. And I remember one time I walked around, it was the cleaning people, and I walked around the corner and I heard the girl say to the other person, "Who is that?" I thought, "Oh, that's Supervisor McGowan. Oh, he's very nice." but it's amazing, you know, you get so much out of sugar than you do vinegar. But I mean, just to stop and say thank you, you know, a lot of people think you're joking, and really with a mask, it's kind of hard to tell when I am joking now. But most times I'm always serious, and even with a joke, that's my way of diffusing, you know, some of the temperaments and that, and bringing everybody together. But I just want to thank everybody, and I really want to thank Frank. Of all people today, you made a tough decision, and I just want to thank you for all you have done. And this, I'm just looking forward to a 2021, you know, working closer with you and the rest of the team here. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Supervisor McGowan. Are there any other comments from our board this morning?
Me, Rachel?
Supervisor Beatty.
Thank you. What a historic day this is up in Warren County. The first female chairperson ever in Warren County. And I think that says a lot about where we are. A lot about where we are. Andrea, I know you're pleased. But I can't be happier that we have crossed a bridge that should have been crossed years ago. There's been numerous women that have had the skill level and the professionalism to lead the board. For whatever reason, they haven't been chosen. You today, winning overwhelmingly the vast amount of votes, indicates that this board is strictly and thoroughly behind you. I thank former Chairman Thomas. He presided over the toughest year ever in the county history with the COVID, and I appreciate the time and effort he put in. And I would like to conclude that this year is going to be just as hard as what Mr. Thomas went through, and could be harder. But I feel confident in your skill set, that you have the leadership abilities to take this board to another level. And that is something special. Congratulations, Madam Chairwoman.
Thank you, Supervisor Beatty. There's no other comments before we move to Janelle Jones to hear about our COVID response. I do think it's important that once again, we remind each other that we are a strong team when we work together. I look forward to that opportunity across the aisle with each other, depending on not only the honesty that we will provide to each other, but the openness, the transparency, and the support. I know we are capable of doing that and providing the very best representation that we can to every single resident, regardless of party affiliation, as we move forward. Ms. Jones, would you like to speak with us a little bit today about our COVID response and where we're at?
Unmute.
Can you hear me?
Okay.
All right, good morning, and thank you for this opportunity to provide you a small update. I first of all wanted to start out with the words of Gina Mincer. She's somebody that I met with the Economic Recovery Task Force that I've been a part of, and she sent out a really lovely thing to the people. And she says, while many of us couldn't wait to move on to 2021, 2020 was also the year when we rediscovered a spirit of togetherness, collaboration, of community. In 2021, we all have our freedom in our hands, and it is up to us to make the most of what it is to turn the corner to a bright new year, onward and upward. And I just found that very meaningful for my staff, because I think we have been waiting to get out of 2020 and move into 2021. So with that in mind, we're also very excited with the vaccine campaign that we've begun. And also before I start, I want to thank Lisa Lehman. She's a local graphic artist that volunteered her time to help us to come up with a logo for our Vaccinate 100% of Warren County campaign. I don't know, Amanda or Tammy, I shared that. I'm very proud of that, and I'm very excited. We actually made circular stickers, and when we give vaccination, we've been issuing the stickers starting last night.
Excellent.
I think the vaccination campaign is also exciting because I feel that we've been on a gerbil wheel all this time, and we're now moving into the tunnel and moving forward, hopefully towards the light of seeing the end of this pandemic. The governor, when we talk about vaccination, has set up priority groups. In order to participate in the vaccination program, we had to sign and attest that we would follow the New York State vaccination COVID-19 plan to the T, or face consequences of, an example would be $1 million fine per person that we vaccinate that's not on an eligible list. The vaccine distribution has been distributed through hubs. There's 11 throughout New York State. We're part of the Albany Med Hub, which is the one for our region. That's made up of the hospitals in our region. It's made up of the federally qualified health centers, and it's made up of the local health departments. Every morning, 7 days a week, we meet at 10 o'clock to go over issues. A lot of it's redistribution between the different counties. It's clarification issues on the different groups. As I hear in the community of different groups that they feel that they should be on different priority groups, it's my opportunity to bring that up to that group, which is very energetic, very advantageous. Sam Parker from the governor's office sits on that group as well. He's made a cell phone number available to us to reach out as well. Then he advocates at the governor's office, and then we're able to get our answers relatively quickly. Our local partners are also incredibly strong, that being Glens Falls Hospital and that being Hudson Headwaters. We are able to quickly communicate with each other, pull our resources together to help different needs. Recently, when I reached out to the nursing homes to determine how they were doing with their vaccination, I identified that 2 of our facilities were having issues. One of them resolved on their own, but we were ready to be able to help address both. And as of today, we are delivering vaccine up to Elderwood to help them with their issues. So we're very excited that we have great partners to work together to be able to deal with our local issues locally. Let's see. Last week, our federally qualified health center, Hudson Headwaters, gave us 100 doses, of which we used 100% of. We had 2 clinics. One of them was Saturday. I was a little disappointed. We only, after a lot of outreach, only got like 13 or 14 people to sign up. But by the end of the clinic, we had vaccinated 43. And then we went to use the remaining doses on Tuesday night. This week, we've received 500 doses. We had a clinic last night. We did 85 doses. We have slots set up for Saturday to do another clinic. Again, we're still in the priority 1A group. I am reaching out to the group homes. I reached out to the assisted livings to be sure that they were all set with vaccine and were on schedule with resource to receive the vaccine, because we wanted to save some of the doses to actually go to the adult or assisted living homes to be able to provide those vaccines to staff and residents. I'm hearing that all of our assisted living and adult homes have resource in place. So we've been reaching out to the congregate settings like the group homes. As soon as I know that they're all set, at that point, I'm going to open up more slots this weekend so that we can utilize all 500 of our doses. But like I said, I want to hold a few doses to make sure that I don't need to go into the clinics or go into the homes to do that. With a rollout for the priority groups, just to kind of let you know how it happens, we're told by this regional hub who we're vaccinating with the vaccine that we get, and that, I guess, comes out of the governor's office. We then create a clinic, and then that generates a link, of which right now for the priority groups and with all of our planning that we've done to date, we have contact people for each of those groups that we reach out, we notify them, we give them the link for them to share with their populations. We also, through the state health department, have what's called iHands, which is an alert system. So I can send something out to all the medical providers, all the pharmacists, all the dentists. I can pick different groups that are registered with the state that live in Warren County or work in Warren County to issue them invitations to come to our clinics. So that's what I've been doing, sending out alerts as we have vaccine become available. We set up clinics. I send out the link to those groups. Hudson Headwaters is, doing the same thing. So is the hospital. So we're notifying that, the priority groups. I foresee when we start opening this up to the public or the priority groups get bigger, such as like the 75 and older population or, a group that we don't have a distribution list for, we'll be doing that, on our website and through the press and the media and through Don Lehman, and he'll help us get the word out, with that regard. And we'll be issuing that link for people to register. Unfortunately, through the state health department, we're being asked, well, it's not unfortunately, but it's the way that it has to happen. This link puts you through the CDMS system, which is called Clinical Data Management System. It's a state health department system where when you register ahead, and we've been doing this for some of our employee flu clinics for a while, in practice and preparation for this, and we've been using it so far for our pods. But you sign up on this link, and then when the nurse gives the shot, then we're able to input that data, and then that feeds into the New York State Immunization Registry program to document the vaccine, and that's how everybody gets their numbers of how many people get vaccinated and things like that. So I just wanted to kind of let you know it's not just we can sign you up for a clinic, call public health. For people that wouldn't have access to the computer or something like that, obviously we'll take appointments and assist people through the CDMS system to hook people up, or maybe they could work with loved ones to kind of do that. I have had a few calls, what do I do if I'm homebound? Well, we certainly will do what we've done in the past with our flu shots. If we know of people in that situation, we'll send a nurse to vaccinate them. We are busy working, identifying pod sites. We already have a lot in mind. But we want to be able to have large and small so that we can ramp up or ramp down depending on what we have. I can honestly say our community is wonderful. People are reaching out to me. Fort William Henry's offered the conference center to us. The Great Escapes offered their facilities to us. SUNY Adirondack has offered their facilities to us. Queensbury Family Center, the Queensbury Community Center has been offered up as well. I know throughout the North Country, a long time ago when I was doing emergency planning, we credentialed all the town halls at the time. So I really am not anticipating that the places are going to be an issue. What I'm looking for right now is when we start opening this up to the public is being able to offer 1 to 2 very large pods at a time where we might have 10 or 20 vaccinators to be able to accommodate a lot of people. With that, though, I have to look at social distancing and I have to look at organization appointment only. We don't want people coming early because if I've got a throughput of 20 people in 5 minutes or 10 minutes, I have to be able to get 20 people in at a time and I don't need a lot of extra people there. So we're working through situations like that. In addition, I've hired some per diem nurses that were school nurses that have volunteered to help us with our clinics. And in addition, we also have a lot of volunteers. We received 80 additional volunteers, and that number grows by the minute since the 1st of January. A lot of these are retired doctors, retired nurse practitioners, retired nurses, in addition to other individuals that we can use to help us with traffic flow, setup, pickup, being runners, things like that. So I'm very encouraged that, staffing will not be an issue with these pods. I'm aiming for 100% vaccination for Warren County. It's a big ask. I realize that, but I really think that we need to do this to take care of this pandemic. So I'm looking for everyone to get vaccinated. We still need to wear masks and social distance and avoid gatherings. I mean, the vaccine's here, but the pandemic's not over. We need to continue to be vigilant. I need everybody to continue to do that. And then those that are vaccinated, just to be clear, are still going to need to be quarantined because right now, until we get the directive from the governor of the state that things change, there's still people that would have to be vaccinated. Even though you're vaccinated, you still have to be quarantined if you're exposed to COVID. I just wanted to kind of put that clarification out there. To circle back to our cases, as you've seen in the daily updates, they have increased leaps and bounds as we thought that would happen through Christmas, through New Year's. It's really disappointing to see the numbers go up. Our staff, I have to tell you, are workhorses. Every day I put my head on the pillow. We have 100% of the cases that we know about called and the contacts that we know about called. And I can't say enough for the staff. They stay here till the job is done. It's a lot of work. I can't even begin to tell you. It's a 7-day operation, and now that we've diverted to the vaccination program, we've kind of split staff, and we're still able to keep up. As you saw, maybe we're hitting records. We had like 54, which was a record high. The next day you have 66. That's like a big jump, and we've been able to kind of keep up with that. And I do say this, we've had volunteers that have helped us do this. We have a group that are doing, we send them the contact investigations, they do the investigation, and then they send us back the information with the contacts and everybody already notified, which is a huge help. That's what's helping us stay together. So, we continue to test as well. We've done over 4,000 tests to date, which is great. The other thing I was going to say, as far as local immunizations that we've done, and it's hard to say, is it for Warren County or is it given in Warren County? But these are given in Warren County. Glens Falls Hospital is given 701. Hudson Headwaters is given 794 doses to date, and Public Health's given 194, which adds up to 2,689 vaccines that we've given to date in Warren County just in the last week or so. So I think that that's really good progress. But I do want to say 65% of our cases have been since December 1st. This is not a time to kind of, put down our guard and, go to gatherings and not wear masks and not social distance. Our schools, we've been very busy with, doing investigations, because when kids are in schools or teachers are in schools, we then have to track back and find out who's been exposed. The schools have been incredibly cooperative, as is the nursing homes and all the other community partners that we've been working with. I do want to take this opportunity to thank the board and to thank the administration for their continued support and for all the snacks you sent the staff when they're working their long days. Thank you for that. I also want to thank other departments. The Sheriff's Department are unsung heroes. I can't even begin to tell you, when we had quarantines over 1,000, they're making those phone calls every day for us. They're helping us with our visits. We have had to go to a random visit plan, and we're probably even going to have to back up a little bit more because I need the staff on making calls versus doing the visits, but we do still do some of the visits. Let's see, I want to thank our community partners as well. And I do want to thank our community for the continued efforts and their continued vigilance and their anticipated rolling up the sleeves so we can have our 100% compliance. And most of all, I want to thank our staff for just being so awesome and getting us through this. And if anybody has questions, I'm happy to entertain.
Janelle, thank you so much for all of your hard work and for your staffs. And we recognize what an uphill challenge this is and appreciate your efforts. Do we have questions from any members of the board for Ms. Jones this morning? Janelle, thank you again. And we continue our commitment to be here to support you and your staff and our community in any way possible. I would also like to take this opportunity to welcome today Sylvia Smith. Sylvia is the new HoReCon supervisor. We're very happy to have you on board, Ms. Smith, Supervisor Smith. Thank you. Are there any announcements to come before the board this morning? Supervisor Bramer.
I wanted to provide an update that the Mullins building is coming down. They started on Wednesday, and when I drove by just now on the way up to the meeting, it was about, I'm going to say, halfway down. So I know people are going to be happy about that, to see the eyesore gone from our communities.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There are other announcements. At this time, I would just like to say once again that I am humbled, honored to have been chosen today as your chairwoman for 2021. You have my commitment that I will work tirelessly on behalf of every citizen in Warren County. I thank you for your support today, and I look forward to a very productive 2021. Is there a motion to adjourn today's meeting? That motion is made by Supervisor Diamond, seconded by Supervisor Bramer.
Are there any public comments?
Yes, we'll revisit that. Mr. Lehman, since the last time, have we had any public comments? Privilege of the floor.
We do not at this point, nope.
Thank you. All those in favor of adjourning today's meeting?
Aye.
Our meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.